Hello, it's your girl Simranjeet Mann here, and today I'm going to be talking about a topic that's actually been requested by a few individuals, and it's about how to be a better communicator or public speaker. By way of introduction, I am a trainee solicitor in a UK top 20 law firm, and I make content for aspiring solicitors. I make content about personal development and self-development, all of that productive, fun stuff, and as well as vlogging my journey to becoming a solicitor and beyond. Now in this video, again, like I mentioned at the start, I'll be talking about how I became a better communicator or public speaker. Now I've still got a long way to go, and there are still certain quirks and things in my language and what I use essentially in my language that I need to improve on, but I'll be talking about that a lot more in this video. So the first piece of advice that I'd like to give you in terms of being a good communicator and public speaker is understanding that you can speak in chunks. Now, I learnt about this when I was doing the advocacy section of the professional skills course. The tutor asked me to read out something, and it turned out I was reading it way too fast. And he was saying, well, in front of your friends, and if you're speaking to people, then speaking like that is completely fine. But if you are doing a form of public speaking where people are trying to follow what you're saying, try and speak in chunks. So say if you've got a sentence like, I am taking my dog for a walk and then I'm going for an ice cream. In a public speaking scenario, you would say that sentence in chunks. So I am going to take my dog for a walk and I am going to go for an ice cream afterwards. So you can see the momentary pause that I had in the middle there. That makes your speech a lot more impactful, and it also means that you allow your brain to think about what to say next rather than filling it out with those filler ums or ahs or likes. And that's the next point that I'd like to make. Is one thing that YouTube has really taught me is when I'm watching my videos back, I really realise the certain terms that I say as sort of fillers rather than actually filling it with impactful moments of silence or pauses. So these things can be ums and ahs. I also say you know what, or you know like, or kinda like, or like. And these are things that I'm trying to eliminate out of my common speaking language, because I'd rather fill it with impactful silences, and it kind of makes you look like you know what you're talking about. One thing that you could do is record yourself speaking about anything, and it could be a topic that you're really passionate about. For example, you always find it easy to talk about something that you're passionate about. So give yourself that time to just really record yourself. And I know recording yourself can be so jarring sometimes, you just don't want to do it, but it can be really, really insightful to not only watch the way you speak, but your mannerisms, your body language, whether you're an engaging speaker. All these different things can come into play when you record yourself speaking and watching it back. Another key thing about being an effective public speaker or communicator is structure. And if your speech doesn't have any form of structure in it, it'll be difficult for the reader to follow it. Now, there are simple things that you can use in your speech to signpost the listener about what you're going to say next or what your speech will be about. So you can say things like, in this talk, I will be discussing 3 things. Firstly, secondly, thirdly. These things are really, really simple that allow the listener to follow what you're saying. You also want to make sure in your speech that you are not fumbling the structure. And what I mean by that is, for example, you've finished point 1 and you're moving on to point 2, and throughout point 2, you suddenly remember something from point 1. And you suddenly just say, oh yeah, actually I forgot to mention something back in point 1. But that can come across as a bit unorganised, and it can actually confuse the listener as well. Now, moving on to the point about engaging your audience. This is something that's really, really important for a YouTuber perspective, but also just in public speaking generally as well. You have given up your time to do this speech, you want to inform people about what you know, so having that engagement is really, really important. Now, one thing that really helps with engagement, which is so much more important than speech itself, is eye contact. I heard that JFK used to, whenever he used to do his speeches, he would walk into a room and honestly eyeball nearly everyone in the room. He would just look at them and stare at them before he started speaking. Now, that is such an engaging way to get your audience's attention, But as a speaker myself, I would personally be terrified to walk into a room and just stare at everyone for 5 minutes and then start my speech. So what I would really say is, while you are speaking, try not to look down at any notes or look down at your feet or look down at your hands. Try and make eye contact with specific members of the audience, so then that allows them to really, I guess, switch on and be like, oh my god, they're looking at me, let me try and listen to what they're saying. Eye contact really goes a really long way. The final thing I would like to say is on that topic of engagement. What more can you do to ensure that you are engaging your audience? Now, I can't provide any advice on this without knowing what you're going to be talking about. But some things that certain people do is they give shocking facts, for example, at the start of their speech, or they ask the audience a question. And then in that speech, they allow the audience to think about what the answer could be, and they talk about it at the end. So these are certain ways in which you can grasp the audience attention right away. And I think it's really important to use the first 5-10 seconds of your speech to try and engage the audience that you're speaking to. Because, like I said, attention spans of human beings are so short. If you don't have an impression created on your listener within 5 to 10 seconds, they will leave or they will switch off and they won't listen to you. I'm still learning about how to engage audiences as well. This is the one thing I think with my public speaking that I personally really struggle with, is engaging the audience, and it's something that I'm learning more and more about. So we're all in this journey together. I hope this video has been useful. Please do let me know. Hopefully this video is useful, for example, in the legal context, with barristers who are looking to do some advocacy, or for those who are doing the advocacy course on the PSC, that might be helpful for you, or for people who are doing advocacy on the LPC. So hopefully this video has been helpful to you all in respect of that. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video.